This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so happy Monday. Today is Monday, December 23rd. And as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. All right, so I take back everything I said about SRPT. My chart does not look like that. Okay, let's talk about the prints that we have in here. So I want you to take a look at something. First of all, the time frame. Okay, the time period that this happened: 7:59 a.m. 100 at 133 on our burst of bid prints. So something we have to realize. Okay, 7:59 and 36 seconds basically is a time that most people cannot trade. Most people aren't able to trade until 8 o'clock once the pre-market really opens up. So seeing that the difficulty of trade is certainly there. And I want you to understand something. If someone was in SRPT right now towards the long side of things, okay, the stock opens up, okay, and we're talking about 145 down here from 126. Would it make any sense to wait until the stock gets all the way down to 133 in order to sell their long position? And obviously the answer to that question is no, because it wouldn't make sense. Why would you wait, for the stock really to move? You're talking about from 145 all the way down to 133. Okay, it doesn't really make sense at all. Yes, they do lose quite a few cents. So how do we have to take this? What's the only way logically that those 133 prints make sense? I know you guys were talking about the chat, so we'll do a quick, just quick lesson. But yeah, short. Just wouldn't make any sense for them to lose that much money coming back into there. All right. So we have to take this looking at it as short. Now, obviously, we can see that we did make a nice jump up. And so it is pulling up. These are huge prints for that time period. So the pull up is going to be gigantic. So just let's make sure. One thing I can tell you is I haven't seen any real buying that's been coming into this thing since for quite some time. I mean, it's, we're getting little bursts here and there, and the orders are extremely thick, but there's just not much buying coming into this. So let's make sure that that buying continues to kind of stay out and we get a trigger back down, we're good to go, okay? If we start seeing that buying coming in, remember, we're going to see an extended pull-up. Same thing that we were talking about last week in AMRN. So I definitely like this. The only thing that I don't like about it is it's not really trading whatsoever. It's my chart looks weird. It's not showing those highs. Make sure, see, right, I know on mine, and this happens every once in a while. If you go right here where it says sessions, okay, and you click on it, make sure it's in US stock with pre-market and post-market. If you don't have that clicked, you're not going to see it. You're going to see only what happened during the actual market. What's the range? $3.90 on average. So we can obviously expect more than that. And one thing that we do want to look at too is that on Friday the average was only $2.42. So it didn't even make that. We can definitely, there's a million things that tell us that we're going to be expecting a bigger than a normal average. Next thing to look at is ITCI. So ITCI coming into this morning is another one. Now keep in mind we can see these prints that came in at 857, and if you look at them, they're obviously not trading at the exact price. Now one that really stuck out right here is at 13. Okay, because remember what we talked about when we have these kind of prints that pop out, it's so often what we end up seeing is them come back and start gravitating. Now, I wouldn't start at 13 considering that is $10.50 away from where it actually is right this second. So at the end of the day, we really need to see a little bit more. But you can see 2350 actually has some really nice selling coming into it. So I would not be shocked to see this thing kind of pop up, a bunch once the market comes back to the open before we end up seeing this kind of fall back towards that downside. The only problem I have here is you got 3.3 million shares. So this to me is just not as much of a show of hand as I'd really like to, especially with something that's acting like an exception. Also set up pre-market for step. Yes. Okay. So based off of what we see coming into this thing, it's very strong possibilities of being like I said, an exception. But if we actually look at the volume itself that it really originally went up on, wasn't anything too crazy. Not anything too crazy to start building there. But as we started getting to these highs, you can see we actually had some decent volume coming back in. But once again, we have to go by the prints, and then we're going to use this as a variable. All right, so if we look over here, you can see it's in the 20s. Our average rate is only 55 cents, but obviously we can expect a lot more in this. Orders are very thin, so it's very easy to move the stock, as well as huge volume. So we should certainly, once again, see a really big one. I'm going to have to go on these 2350 bid prints at the moment, but like I said, with the almost 3.4 million shares, I would like to see something a lot more coming into this. All right, next thing looking at is SAVA, S-A-V-A. So I know it looks like garbage, and that's why it's on the side list, but it's holding the consolidation that we saw of jumping this thing up from the aftermarket on Friday. And holding on to this original trigger, it still shows us that people are actually, well, not original trigger, but one of the triggers is actually showing us that people there's still possibilities of them being in here. So I haven't seen anything that's that great. I mean, you could see the 260s, pretty decent. 230, that was on the on Friday. But overall, you know what? It's got possibilities. It just needs the prints. It needs something better into it. And PGNX is kind of the same type of deal. We see this going down. The reason I like this stock is just because you can short it and it goes along. But you can see we're kind of in that staircase. It jumped up on absolutely nothing, and we're starting to come back down. It really hasn't had any good prints, though, since it came underneath that 6 level. You can see right underneath, okay, that 596. Pretty nice selling burst coming in, but we need to see some more. Once again, we're going to be able to trade this to both sides. My only concern with this thing is that on average, it only moves 25 cents and trades 624,000 shares. So we can obviously expect it to do more than what it usually does. It's just one kind of thing I have is that just you can see how the trading kind of stops in it. So just once the market opens, it does have a pretty high possibility of being of really not trading or really doing anything. So keep that in mind, but that's obviously why it's on our side list. And other than that, guys, I don't see anything really else out there that I have too much of an interest in. Anything else out there that I missed? Anything else that I missed? Nope. All right. So as we talked about, guys, this is going to be a very slow week. And guess what? I would absolutely love to be completely wrong. The only problem is that if history tells us anything, I'm probably not, well, not that I'm not going to be wrong, but the market is usually going to be very slow. So we really want to focus in the morning. It only takes that one. We really want to focus on making sure we get a very high percentage trade to start our day, and we want to make our money early because we do not want to have to depend on trying to do anything, basically after 1:30, okay? And then tomorrow being a half day, obviously, we get our, stuff done early, and then pretty much after about 10:30, we're not going to see anything, and then, we'll go enjoy our holidays. All right, guys? So let's get ready for our morning. Okay, let's make sure we're going over what our weaknesses are, or what we need to focus, what our habits are before the market opens. Let's get focused. We'll make sure that once about 5 minutes before we get started, we get only talking. We focus only on talking about our trading. I will talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.